Continuing on with our soil sample examples, here's one that is a study in poor soil. This guy couldn't get anything to grow in his field. It's got about a 10% slope. I see right away that there was a lot of stones, small stones laying on top in a limestone soil. So the topsoil, you could tell, had been washing down over the years and just washing down, and he had sheet erosion carrying his topsoil down into the woods because he never had any cover crops on, and he's growing corn, soybeans, probably using a lot of glyphosate, judging by this acidity, and spraying a lot of glyphosate is gonna do this to you. So he's got a 4.7 pH. Pretty hard to grow anything in that. What does come up, the deer pretty much polish off, and he ends up with nothing by fall. The phosphorus being high like that, I would say he probably put fertilizer on last year and didn't get a soil test, so he was fertilizing incorrectly, and he never put any lime on, obviously, and his organics are very low. You can see that he needs 3.5 tons to the acre. So you could put a whole truckload, it's only about a 4-acre field, you could use a whole truckload, a 10-ton load of lime in that little field and not have enough. Calcium, never seen it that low. Acidity is very high. In contrast with the last one I showed you, or the one I'm going to show you next, is going to be, you're going to see that there's no acidity. CEC 9.7, keep that in mind. The CEC is very low because the exchange sites on the soil particles are right now being taken up by hydrogen atoms because of this number here, which has to do with the pH. Again, calcium is ridiculous. Magnesium is ridiculous. I've never seen numbers like this. Trace elements, that's about normal actually, because we don't correct for that with any amendments usually. Now I do, but I'm the only one that I know of that does it. So what this farmer is doing probably is he is planting just to plant and then collecting crop insurance. That's the only thing I can think. Why would you even go in and plant anything in this soil and expect to get a crop? The deer enjoy it for a little while in the summer, eat it all up, and it's gone. So next I want to show you a soil that I don't think it was this bad, but it was pretty bad because it was just busted out of the forest, and it was a new field, so we had to kind of start from a forest soil standpoint. It was very acid and low in nutrients. So I'll show you what I did here in a minute. In contrast, let's take a look at this soil sample. pH is 7.6. I actually got a little bit too alkaline. All my nutrients are up and above optimum level. Don't need any fertilizer, don't need any lime. I never limed this field. Calcium is almost 5,000. Acidity is 0 because we're at a close to neutral pH. CEC is 17. My calcium to magnesium ratio is pretty good. It's 8 to 1. And the trace elements don't look too bad really. Sulfur could be a little higher, but it's not bad at all. So what happened here? This was a plot that I scraped out of the woods. Made a video about that a while back. You can see it on my channel. And what I did right away was bring in sludge compost, which is the sludge from a sewage treatment plant that is mixed with woody material and compost and lime, and then left to cook down to where it heats up and kills any bacteria that might be in there. It breaks down the woody debris. It's usually sawdust and chips, a little bit of bark. I incorporated that in, and you can see what it did to my, I don't have an organic test in here, but I bet it's up around 5%. But this field is ready to grow just about anything you want to grow. The only thing that I probably have here that is a negative is probably a little bit too much carbon. The carbon nitrogen ratio is a little off. But all I have to do is use cover crop systems to get that squared away. And once I get cover crops growing here and cycling every year, you know, summer covers, winter covers, and then go back to summer and then winter again. Once you get that system in place, your soil microbes, your mycorrhizal fungi will be very healthy. Earthworms will be in there nice and healthy. We're not going to till at all here, and I'm never going to have to put in any more. You know, this landowner asked me what kind of amendments we're putting on this year. I said nothing. You know, we probably will never have to do it again. We just have to put the seed to it every year now, which is actually pretty cheap. You know, a couple $100 worth of seed every year, and you're good to go. Our biggest problem with this field is that the deer love it so much. The forage comes up and it's so good that they come from miles around to get at it, and that's a problem. And I may have to clear more woods here to try and get more food on the ground, or go to the neighbors and try to get them down with doing some food plotting just to take the pressure off. Because he's right next to state land, and there's just a never-ending supply of deer. You can shoot all the deer you want, and they just keep coming after this forage. Okay, so that's the next allotment in the series. The next one, I want to try and get into the minerals a little more, and we're going to talk about minerals and using mineral balance instead of fertilizer. And now that I have this in balance, I may end up putting minerals on this soil just to make sure that there's plenty of microbes. These are your trace elements that they test for, but there's many, many more. There's 7 times that number of elements that a plant uses. So there's things going on in these plants and in these microbial systems that we don't even know about yet. And when you have all the minerals that are available on the earth in the soil in a good balance, you don't have to worry about any of this stuff anymore. You're never going to have to even bother testing for pH, because the soil will correct its own pH with the right plants and the right microbial communities when they're healthy. The pH is self-correcting, and the plants, if you're not taking a crop off, if the deer are feeding on your food plot, defecating, urinating back into the food plot, you don't ever have to worry about adding nutrients again, because they're just going to recycle. All right, if you like the content, please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe by pushing the button that's underneath the Trillium, and please leave a comment if there's anything that you want to know about, anything you want me to talk about in these videos. Comment down below and let me know, and I'll answer your questions. See you next time.